In this video from We Are Racing, more importantly, it doesn't charge, but it starts. Hello good people from the interwebs and the YouTubes, and welcome back to our channel. This is We Are Racing, the most awesome, informative and educational channel on all of the YouTubes. In the last videos we told you that we were battling with our starter, which is now rebuilt, remanufactured, refurbished, and has a new bendix gear of the appropriate size on the front. So we'll have to fit that, and because we have to fit that, we have to take off the exhaust. And because we're going to take off the exhaust, we might as well attempt again a second try at alternator bracket to mount that thing up for permanent and for good. And do you mount an alternator bracket for good or for evil? Who knows? In any case, a reminder, please comment, please like, please share, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of our content. And also a reminder that we are looking for our next project. Parameters for next project: 100,000 Rand. We need to be able to buy, fix, modify a car that would be able to sell for a profit when we're done with it. That's a 2 grand profit or 5 grand profit. I didn't say. We can't lose money on it. It's simple as that. With that, we're gonna get stuck into this thing, put alternator on, make it to start under its own power, hopefully with an exhaust on it, and that will put us one step closer to being completed and actually getting to the water and all that sort of good stuff. Did I mention in the previous video that we found the little connector for the coil from a local company in Swartkops at a bargain price of 50 Rand each? Yes, that sounds familiar, that feels familiar. We probably did tell you. Okay, well, let's get stuck into this thing and see if we can do some damage. That's French for damage. Okay, so we're going to try the alternator bracket again. This time using WAD, wire aided design. So what I'm trying to do is to determine what the arch is going to be, the appropriate arch that the bracket needs to follow, and then we'll figure out the size of the guide that it needs, and then we'll build it from there. With a little piece of metal that we picked up. I think this is hefty enough for a pretty solid bracket. Okay, and that looks about right for both the arch and as well as the distance that it has to travel. If it doesn't work, we make another one. Simple. Yellow pen doesn't show up very nicely on the steel. So I think that's roughly what we're going for. We can always take material away if we're not happy with the result, but obviously it's difficult to add material on. One of the many advantages of being as old as what I am is you learn when to give up. Right, so here's the dilemma. I think this steel is the right gauge, it's everything that we need. I think my design is not too far off. I don't have the means with angle grinder to neatly and properly cut out this inside bit over here.
As you can see, I've been trying and it doesn't work, which made me realize that I also probably won't have the means to do that bit where it has to slide properly, and which is going to result in two things. Number one, it's going to take ages. I mean, this is a good hours worth of work already, and the second thing is it's just not going to look the way I want it to look. But wait, I've got a plan. And here's my plan. I quickly transferred the basic thing that I made there onto paper to get some basic dimensions. I transferred that onto my laptop, onto SketchUp. And I'm not a designer by any mean way or form. So I exported that to an STL file, which I put into my 3D printing software. And now I'm printing a prototype. And if that prototype works and fits where I need it to fit, I can then take the file that I created on SketchUp over here, export it to the appropriate format, and give it to a machine shop to create for me, to build properly. That's the plan. Now I can carry on with other stuff like starters and stuff. And there we go. This should take roughly about an hour and a half, which is enough time for me to go fit the starter and maybe start fiddling with some wiring, and then we can test fit the alternator and see what changes we need to make. Okay, progress update. Starter, a refurbished starter. I'll put a link for the auto electrician who refurbished the starter for us. I'll stick a link down in the video. They did a pretty decent job and they did it very quickly. Reconnected the battery. This is the moment of truth. See if they did a proper job. Power. Power. All that sort of good stuff. And yes, please. Okay, so we don't have fuel at the moment because ECU not connected and coil not connected and stuff. So in fact, let me no, let's not rush this thing. Next thing I need to do is see if I can't make a better plan with alternator. Let's see. Update time. So mentioned before, starter in place where it's supposed to be, and we fitted the alternator bracket back into its little spot over there. We tried this bracket in every conceivable direction. This is the only way it fits. And then we tried the alternator on the bracket in every single direction that we can think about. And this is the only way it fits. Without major modification required. So this is how it fits. But a win, because it fits quite nicely. There's space for adjustment, the belt is on, all that sort of good stuff. There's our 3D printed bracket that we created, and immediately you can see it is way big. Something that if you weren't doing prototyping, you wouldn't be able to tell that. And because it's way big, it doesn't go into the bottom there in between the alternator and the frame. But we can get it on the other side. It doesn't fit, it's not supposed to go there. And with that, we can see that it would work there if we made it quite a bit smaller, and it should reach at the bottom over here if we made it quite a bit smaller. So back to the drawing board, literally to the PC, and we're going to reduce the size of this thing significantly. So the slit part here needs to obviously be the same, but I can take a good 10 millimeters off each side of this. Well, maybe not on that side, but I can take a good 10 millimeters out of here, specifically out of there, and come up with a different design. And oh, the entire thing can be shorter. It can be shorter by a good almost an inch. What is that, 2.5, 3 centimeters easily. It can be shorter. So let's go do that quickly, and we can print another prototype and check if it works. Fun times. Okay, and while we're waiting for that bracket to print, I got, I don't know, mad at myself, and I pulled out this wiring harness all the way in between there, all the way back. And the reason for that is, initially we routed it on this piece of pipe and into the fuse box over there, and then the other day I saw that, the place where it's supposed to go. So yeah, we're busy rerouting wiring to where it's supposed to go, and hopefully make impact on the rat's nest as well.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
In the meantime, our new bracket finished printing. So the plan is it should go from there to over there. That is perfect. You know what I can do? I can make this just a hole and make it solid all the way to about up to here, so we only have the little slider. That'll make it a lot stronger since we took so much material away. Let's go do that quickly. I'm not good with one hand. Quickly measured out, so if I make this a little circle, so just the bolt from the alternator can go through there, and then I measured the total range of movement on the alternator from end to end, and that's roughly it. So I'm going to do a little round bit here so it can go up and down the slider, and then make a circle here, and then fill in all of that, and that will make for a much stronger bracket. It's interesting that this entire process, since I started this morning, if you add all of the time up, I'm sitting at around about 3 hours to get to this point. That includes the time to actually print this stuff. So if you minus the stuff to print, this has taken me less than half an hour so far to get this done. And by the time I'm done, I will have a template or a file that I would be able to give to anybody to laser cut or CNC or whatever process they would like to use. How cool is that? The gap between concept and prototype is this big when you use 3D printing. Right, Brendan, so we've rerouted the wiring.
You've really rerouted the wiring.
Yep. It's now more hidden, which is good. Reconnected the stuff there in the rat's nest where it was. The new starter is in its place. It fits properly and it works, and it fits behind the exhaust more importantly. And we realized it is very close to the exhaust, the starter and the oil piping. So we will very definitely wrap the exhaust with exhaust tape. Also, if you can check here, there's our 3D printed, this is a little bit funny, there's our 3D printed bracket for the alternator. Obviously it's not as taut as what the proper bracket is going to be, so it's not straight, and that's why the belt doesn't quite stay on there. But the good news is it works. Interesting to see if the battery charges from the alternator. Okay, 12 volts.
Ooh.
Okay, it doesn't look like it's charging, but it starts.
And it sounds amazing.
It does sound pretty cool. Interesting. I think that's probably as far as we're going to go. I'll have to edit stuff over this though. Music.
Oh,
More importantly, it doesn't charge, but it starts and it runs and it idles
and it sounds amazing.
and it sounds amazing. So now, water.
Yes, that's the next thing.
Get that bracket built by an engineering shop. I'll ask Julio maybe if he knows someone. And then it's final assembly, right?
Yes, indeed. Not much to do from there on. Well, that's for you. I can't do anything at the moment.
You're just lazy.
No, I broke my back.
Potato, potato. She's like, you know.
Same but different.
Can't we weld you something?
If you can weld me a new back, go for it.
Exoskeleton.
Hey, that could be a fun project.
But I think it's going to be a wrap for this video though, Brendan.
Indeed, I think so as well.
We've achieved quite a bit. I'm not unhappy.